Hey, do you love to hear a good story? I can sit and listen to people tell stories all the time. I had a guy that I worked with at Glen Mills Schools, Mr. Swanson. He was in World War II, and he could tell stories. And I'm telling you, I know there's some of you sitting and laughing right now, remembering some of those stories he used to tell. Man could tell a story. My grandfather worked at the Delaware County Prison, and he could tell some stories. He ran the farm for him. And some great stories. My other grandfather would talk about playing baseball and softball back in the 40s. And just sitting and listening to stories. And Jesus was a master storyteller. He would tell parables, right? And he would do things like he would speak in hyperbole, like say something outrageous to get people's attention. And one day he says, hey, if your right eye causes you to sin, cut it out and throw it away. What? Right? The people are like, what in the world? Are you crazy? He says, it's better to lose an eye than have your sin cast into hell. Or if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away so it doesn't, right? Talk about getting people's attention. And one other day, he's telling this parable, and he says, listen, one night this farmer plants a field of seed, right? And it's all wheat, and it's going to be a beautiful field of wheat. But at night, an enemy comes in and throws weed seed into the field. As the plants come up, his workers go out and start looking around, and they're like, oh my gosh, somebody put all these weeds in your wheat. You want us to go out and you want us to pull it all up? Yeah, like we're real super zealous, right? We're going to go out and pull up all this. And the farmer's like, no. Let it all grow. Let it all grow together. And in the end, it'll all play out. When we harvest it, we'll harvest the wheat and we'll get rid of the weeds. And that's a story about our world. Some people think that they're the judge, right? That they should be the ones who go out and weed out all the people who are sinners, tax collectors, right? They'll weed them out and they'll show God how zealous they are for him by getting rid of these sinners. And God's like, that's not your job, man. That's my job. Let it all go. And in the end, it'll all play out. I'll take care of that because ultimately I am the final judge. And we need to remember that, right? As we go through our days, we aren't to judge others. We aren't to tell others, you're going to hell because you did X, Y, and Z. Because you know what, when you point this finger at somebody, see how that, right? There's three pointing back at me. We've all sinned. We've all fallen short of the glory of God, and we need to remember that. We are not the judges. Jesus pointed that out to us in that parable. Ultimately, God is the final judge, and we shouldn't try to take God's job. May God continue to pour out his grace, mercy, and blessings on each and every one of us until we get to meet again. Amen. Amen.